Hey, I'm JB, the founder of Squirrel, and today I'm answering all of your questions you're searching for on the internet about mortgages. Should I split my home loan? Absolutely. At the moment, with where we're at with interest rates, we're getting to the bottom of an interest rate cycle. Now's the time to split. Leave some of it on short term, take advantage of those low rates. Maybe they'll go a bit lower, but put some of it on a longer term fixed rate just to protect yourself in case something goes wrong. Should one use mortgage broker or go straight to the bank? Well, of course you should always use a mortgage broker, duh. How long does it take to get approval from the bank? At the moment, it's about 2 weeks when you're going via a mortgage broker to get an approval. So just allow yourself a little bit of time to get through that process. The good news is that the mortgage advisor should be able to give you a pretty good idea of what your approval will look like when you talk to them up front. Can I buy a new home before selling my existing home? Yes, you can. That's called a bridging loan. It's not necessarily easy in this market. So if you go and buy a property, you then have to sell your existing property. You can buy subject to the sale of your house, or you could buy bravely and then just trust yourself to sell your house. And if you can't sell it in time, put in a bridging loan. It's a little bit more risky. The risk is with you, so make sure you get advice. How can I pay my mortgage off faster? Well, hey, lots of good tips here. The best thing that you can do is just pay extra on your fortnightly or monthly repayments. A lot of people do that using a revolving credit, where they just throw extra money as they have it and then pay their loan off faster. Another way of doing it, which I quite like, is splitting off a small part of your loan, because it's like eating an elephant. Split off a small part of your loan, focus on that first, because it's really motivating if you have a $50,000 chunk of your loan and you pay it off really quickly, and then do the same again, split off another 50 and then pay that off. Do lenders look at your spending? Unfortunately, yes, they do. It's not as bad as it was when we had triple CFA a couple of years ago, but they are looking at your spending. So in the lead up to getting a mortgage, have a think about what's going through your bank statements and the story that that's telling to a prospective lender. Definitely don't go to the casino. At what age should you pay off your mortgage? 40. Nah, look, the size of these mortgages these days, you're not going to probably pay it off until you're 60 or 70. I think the biggest thing is you're going to buy your first house. You're never really going to pay the mortgage off, because you're actually just going to buy a bigger place and a bigger place and a bigger place, and you're just going to keep borrowing more money. The reality is most people now are carrying mortgage debt, if not into retirement, close to retirement, and their strategy is to sell and downsize and get their equity out that way. Do mortgage brokers get better rates? Depends on how hard you shop. If you're one of those really kind of tough negotiators, the reality is you're going to get as good, possibly even a better deal doing it yourself, right? But for most of us, we're not like that, and we don't have enough knowledge to know how to negotiate. So going and working with a mortgage advisor is going to make sure you get the best possible deal. How is income assessed for self-employed? With self-employed people and with business owners, we're looking at the profitability of the business. That's really, really important, right? The most important thing is your business is making money. If it's generating a loss, then that loss is going to be accommodated within your servicing calculations. So that makes it kind of tricky. But you do need financials, and typically you need 2 years worth of financials. We can work off 1 year's of financials and a 1 year forecast. But generally to do that, you're going to need a little bit more deposit. How does buying with friends work? You can buy with friends. So banks allow for multi-household scenarios, and they allow for multiple applicants. So you can buy with friends. The way to do it would be to go tenants in common, which means you own a part of the property each legally and you each show separately on the title. To have some sort of relationship agreement that talks about the relationship between you. Obviously what will happen is we'll take all of your income and expenses and savings into account, and you go in as one application. Can KiwiSaver be used to buy my first home? Of course it can. KiwiSaver is a great way for Kiwis to buy a home. Can KiwiSaver be used to buy investment property or second homes? No, it can't. KiwiSaver is only there for your first home. The exception is a second chance home buyer. And that situation is maybe you've been through a divorce, something's happened where you've lost your home and you want to buy into the market again, and for all intents and purposes you look like a first home buyer. That's definitely worth a crack. How long do I have to wait before I can refinance my loan for cash? Look, typically you have to wait 3 or 4 years, but it's really, really worthwhile. These cashbacks can be $5,000 or $6,000. Now think, how many hours would you have to work to earn $5,000 or $6,000 after tax? And the answer is a lot of hours, right? So spending a couple of hours working with a mortgage advisor to refinance your home loan is a really smart idea. I know it's a bit of a pain in the ass and you've got to move banks and do bits and pieces, but when you really think about it, it's worthwhile. I'm JB, that's your questions. Thanks for watching.